I say it everywhere. You know why I bought me my first car even. You know why I
You
bought
buy
me
your
my
first car?
you know why I bought me my first car. Between me and you, I don't see this out a lot. Comedy slowed me down.
What?
It slowed me down.
For real?
Yeah. God sees my heart. The kind of dream and visions that I see for myself, comedy money cannot give it to me. When we started our table, people were saying, oh my God, it's corrupting our child's language. The same people have called to say, oh my God, this is the closest our child has to culture. You have not seen anything. You will still see Superman speaking Igbo. The reason your artist can reject a gig of 30 million is because it's making more money from streaming.
Welcome back to your favorite show, guys. It's still trending. Now, you know what we'll talk about trending? What we'll do for you is we'll bring you the biggest, the latest, and of course, the most amazing personalities, celebrities that are trending. It means that they have to be trending to be here on the show. Today on the show, we have someone that we'll call like one of the pioneers of animation in comedy, one of the biggest pioneers of this particular genre of comedy, and of course also a stand-up comedian as well of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His name, Ajebo in the building. Thank you so much for coming through on Trend. Meanwhile, you're looking very little.
Thanks, bro. Thanks,
I don't
bro.
know, man. This your style is different. It's giving. It's different from the animation you give us from the animation you give us, man. But tell me, who styled you really? This is looking really good.
I styled myself.
Ah,
man.
this is easy. Who made the suit for you?
Zomo made this. Zomo.
This is a good fit. This is
Thank
very
you,
amazing.
thank
The suit is not going to size me, but all I say is just off it and wear the
It'll
white.
be short sleeve
white
for
shirt.
you.
Are you telling us how tall you are? Sir?
No, I'm telling
No,
you.
but
I'm okay. I'm average. You're just taller than me a little.
No, I'm not taller than you a little. I'm taller than you a lot. Sir.
A little.
A lot.
Yeah, maybe just long past.
So how many? But tell me, how are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing very good.
Again, thank
Good
you
to
so
be
much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. My
It's,
pleasure.
if we actually look back and look at where you started your comedy thing from, you made childhood memories like it was really, really amazing. Not like childhood. I say
Yeah. No, I get that a lot.
But what I was
So,
trying to say is like
yeah.
you made comedy worthwhile. Like you were the first person, the first set of people that we were always looking up to. When is it dropping his next comedy animation? When is he doing his next thing? But tell me, why did you even start with that particular one aside from the stand-up comedy that you've always done?
I just wanted to stand out, basically. I'm a storyteller, right? I tell stories, and I just felt it was time to tell the African story, right? At the time, we used to watch Voltron, Batman, Superman,
Superman.
I wanted to do something different, and at the time, I don't think we were ready for superhero stories at the time, but it was just interesting to just tell the simple African story that everybody could relate with, right? The African mom, dynamics, flying slippers, at the time, even till now, many, if you grow up in an African home, an African family, that's where you learn to walk, to talk, and to dodge slippers.
Of course,
and the dodging depends on who's faster, you or your mom. So I was like, I was very adventurous growing up, very stubborn, so I started with my story. Everything I tell you is mostly my story. I was that stubborn child that was a prayer point for my mom. Right. But at the time, it was, worry this, worry that. That was what was trending in the comedy space. Yeah. So I named the character a worry character. And that's how Tigolo came about,
Absolutely.
So,
Fantastic thing you actually did, which actually turned this stuff around. It brought out a different type of comedy that I'm very sure that some of the skit makers right now actually copied one or two from to actually start doing their own this thing. But how was life in Warri? Was it Warri that you grew up?
I didn't grow up in Warri. That's funny. Warri is just, you see, I grew up in Lagos. Born and raised in Surulere. But you cannot talk about the influence on stand-up comedy without mentioning the Warri influence, right? Back in the days when we're watching at 1,000 Labs, everybody's talking about Warri, from the Gandokis, everybody was talking about for Warrior for this, and those were the influences that we had when we came on board, when we joined stand-up comedy. So it just influenced everything. So it's not like I grew up in Warri.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a
You
proper
just
Lagos
cued
boy.
into the Warri
I just kid into it.
I
Right,
understand.
right,
It's fantastic.
right.
But so I know that, for example, now everybody who has ever become great always have like people they looked up to at some point, or even people they still look up to this
Right.
particular point to shape their path and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Who were those early comedians that you saw that you're like, man, comedy is going to be my team?
I used to watch Nine of a Thousand Laughs a lot. I used to see Gandoki a lot on Nine of a Thousand Laughs. And then, Alibaba was doing comedy. We had Basket Mouth, the first set of guys, basically. When I got out of university, I wanted to connect. And then I walked into AY's office. This was like 2008. I walked into his office with my backpack. I was a smart boy. Hello? My glasses, my backpack, and my laptop. I just walked into something. I'm like, I'm funny. If you want me to write, I'm funny. If you want me to say, stand on stage, I'm funny. If it's radio, I'm funny. He looked at me and just laughed and said, "Go and win."
Confidence of this.
Yeah, what's the confidence of this boy? Because I was already on campus. I was already a local champion back in UNN.
Yeah.
My surname is RM. MC RM was my name then. So I was on the radio. Like I was the kid on the block on campus.
Yeah.
I was doing radio. I was writing for some magazines, tested and trusted.
Yeah.
So and he was like, "Okay, go win a AY April mic." That was 2009. Yeah, and I won in 2009. Anyway, I ended up, writing on his magazine. Then at some point I became the editor of his magazine. And then from there I moved on radio. Yeah. So
Wow. So you're pretty, I've not really seen this come out before, like in any news. But like, wait, are you trying to say now AY played an extremely important role in your rising?
Oh yes. A lot of role. I say it everywhere. AY bought me my first car even. These are OGs now. You don't know. AY bought me my first car because I studied him. I knew I didn't just want to do stand-up. I didn't just want to be a comedian. I knew I had more to offer my generation. I was a proper storyteller. Like, I was doing radio, I was writing. Like, I knew I had... Yes. Stand-up comedy was not the only expression for what I was carrying, And I watched how he did his... He's a businessman. AY was very good with the media at the time. He was running his AY show. He had it on TV. He had it on radio. He had the magazine running. I was like, this is the person I need to connect with. And I submitted to mentorship, and he did. He mentored me. In fact, as a matter of fact, one of the shows that we did, this story, I've said it before, I don't know if you, one of the shows that we did back in the days, I went to Ikorodu, because he was living in Ikorodu then.
Oh, AY lived in Ikorodu?
Yeah, he was living in Ikorodu then. Like, I left my house, like, I left school, came to Lagos, went, stayed there, made sure I was part of everything, the production, and then after everything, I didn't perform at the show. It's long, just to cut the long story short, I was with him backstage. I was serving, let me just put it that way. And so I couldn't perform. So he said, like, he just turned and said, I was like, "Boss, I've not gone on stage." He just looked at me, "You've not gone?" Because I was with him all the while, but he didn't notice. Like, he just held my shoulder. "Man, bro, you can't go now." Baba, I cry. Yeah. I cry. I just shut down, went to sleep. That's how the show ended for me. The next morning, because I was actively on the team. Like, when I say I submitted to mentorship, I was part of the process, The next morning, guess who was to go and retrieve money for tickets from outlets? Me. With which car? My car. So as I was driving, like, Mark just saw how swollen my face was. Baba, I was stressed. I don't cry. Hey, Rem, what did they do you? Why you they? What happened? You don't see where cry, they hungry, they come and see what happened.
But I used to they drive.
And I used to they drive, But that was how much love and passion I put into it, And then, and then one day, AY just calls me up and he goes like, "I guess some people cry last show." I say, "Who cry? Really?" He said, "Don't worry. I see the passion that you have for this thing." It's like, "Don't worry."
Do a lot.
On Monday, go and meet Olisa. The Beat FM is recruiting for radio. I know you loved it. Don't worry. Every AY Live for the main part of the year, you headline. It's not just that you perform. You be on the billboards. You be on the radio. You be on the, so that was the first set of, everywhere. My name was not. Yeah. And you know what? Since then, that template has still been anywhere AY is doing a show, whether I'm on the bill or not. I appreciate what he did in that year. He set the platform for me to fly. So anywhere he's doing a show, he knows I always show up. Till now, it's my organ for life.
Yeah.
But
I understand. Like this is a fantastic thing. But there was something you actually said that struck me.
Right.
When you used the phrase, I was serving.
Yeah.
Now I want to be quickly pinpoint to that real quick. Do you feel like, just supposing likes of you or those days or your sets or your sets, the people that you rolled with back then, maybe who were your sets? Yourself,
all of them,
acapella, and exactly, pencil and all.
That.
So now you said something serving.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the serving thing has been decomposed right now based on this generation of comedians that are coming in or that are coming up and all? Do you feel like they still serve? Do you feel like they still have the mind to still serve?
Yeah, a few still understand it. A lot don't understand it anymore, and there's nothing to blame about it. I mean, things are changing. This is a different era. Whatever you can learn from one person, you can Google it, right? So a lot of people don't need it, think they don't need it, but personally, and this is not just about stand-up comedy or the comedy industry, across board, any industry, one of the fastest way to cut your journey short is through mentorship, through understanding what the people that have gone ahead of you went through. It helps you cut your journey short, because no matter how much Google you have, trust me, you'll still make those mistakes, right? And for somebody who has run through an industry over 20, 25 years, and it's easier to ask a few questions. How did you navigate this? So as opposed to making those same mistakes, you can just learn from the person's mistakes. And the fastest way to open up, for someone to open up his access and his blessings and everything to you is through service. And I say it anywhere, like anywhere I want to go. If now by God's grace, we've built our own brand
empire,
and trajectory, we have our own access. But I mean, there was a lot of times I just called it, I need this access, I need that access. Oh, really? I'll send it to you right away. Boom. And he pulls the call across. Oh, my guy is coming. Please show him. Do you understand? So, yeah, it's not as it was anymore, but I think it's left to personal decision. It always works. It will always be there. Service and mentorship will always cut your journey short.
Absolutely, that's really fantastic. Now, we already spoke about the fact that when you started the thing, how you met AY and all. But now let's talk about the character change in Tegolo. You playing Tegolo, you playing the Aboki, playing the other people. So there's a particular one that I feel like everybody actually saw.
Yeah.
The cut 10 naira own.
That's like 13, 14 years ago. Yeah.
Bring it out of the characters.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I know you say you're a very good writer, which of course
Right.
it shows, but how do you do that? The rigorous work in trying to bring out those characters.
Right.
And back then in the days.
What we are now is just telling African stories. And, you have to tell those stories through the eyes of the audience, right? I have lived this life. Do you understand? So when I'm trying to describe a landlord, do you understand? It's something I've seen. When I'm trying to describe an African mom or an African dad, it's something I have seen. Do you understand? So I always try to create those characters in such a way that is relatable to everybody. Right now, House of Ajebo has expanded into not just comedy. We have Jenny and Kenny. Jenny and Kenny is a learning and entertainment channel for kids. Just call it the nursery rhyme channel with Afro fusion. The kids are wearing African fabric. We've simplified the music to have touch of Afrobeat, right?
Yeah.
You have landmark places all around Africa in these songs, right? In fact, we are putting out African stories, actual folk tales, using African stories to teach. We grew up watching Tales by Moonlight.
Exactly, we
it's
did, but it's not, those things are not even around.
We're
no
bringing
more
that
now.
back. We're bringing that back. We have a library of over 300 songs for children.
Wow.
You go to children's party and children are dancing to adult song, and you see a child holding the wall and twerking. Why? because that's what they're exposed to, right? When the desirable is unavailable,
Yeah, really become desirable. Yeah, you're very
exactly.
correct.
But right now, we are catering to that market. We know that the kiddies market we're bringing it all in,
All in,
man.
absolutely.
We're working on a superhero story. It's a transitionary period for us at House of Ajebo, right? I mean, we've given you YouTube content for almost 14, 15 years. Don't you want to see a movie? Right? So House of Ajebo is transition. We call ourselves the Disney for Africa. I personally had to travel to Disney to understand, to see the picture of Disney. When I came back, I removed the back. I just call it this, because we've not done anything. So sometimes when we're celebrated here in Nigeria, I tell people we're just getting started. There's a lot to do, and we're doing it. We're doing it. We want African kids
Yeah.
from next 4, 5 generations
Yeah.
to look back and say we have our own. So people say, we have a Superman. They'll tell you our own. We have
Yeah,
our
exactly.
own. I almost gave out the name for our superhero series.
Don't make Tegoless, mama.
With his long head.
but wait, this is amazing, yeah. To actually see how this is going. But is that gonna be like a segment on your TV thing that you're trying to do, whereby we're gonna have like Pidgin stories, or is everything gonna be told in Pidgin?
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. You see, for the very longest, people see Western media made it seem like speaking Pidgin was not cool, right? For the longest, I mean, you see people trying to speak phone. Oh my God, it's like, no, speak your African.
Pidgin,
Have you seen an
Pidgin.
Indian man trying to form British accent before?
No.
You will listen because he knows what he has to offer you. We are coming. You will wait and listen.
Yeah.
Right? You go to China, you are going with your interpreter, you are going with your this thing. My dear, feel free to speak your Igbo, speak your Yoruba, speak your Pidgin. It's what makes us unique.
Absolutely.
So yes, we're proud to. When we started our table, people were saying, "Oh my God, it's corrupting our child's language." The same people have called to say, "Oh my God, this is the closest our child has to culture." You have not seen anything. You will still see Superman speaking Igbo. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like, let's tell our stuff. Like, look at somebody that you love, a character that you love, and he's wearing Ankara.
Yeah.
Do you understand? The funny thing is, even if you go and pitch anything abroad to them and you pitch it in you
their
cannot
own, yeah.
you can't speak English more than them. You
Yeah,
cannot
you're
do
very-
so. You pitch yourself,
yourself,
pitch
pitch
your
you.
culture. Gone are the days where you tune into TV and then you talk about Africa, all you see is giraffes and bush. A lot of people still have that perspective of Africa, right? Look at how China is opening, and suddenly the world is knowing that we thought they are speaking their language and they are creating amazing stuff, doing stuff with
Absolutely.
AI,
Absolutely. You're
right?
correct, you're correct.
Man, that's
It's
where we're
amazing.
going. Oh.
Anyways, we're going there. But before we go there, let's go on a short break right now. We're gonna be right back on trending. Stick around, you know, gonna wear. All right, Ajebo is currently live on trending on your TV. We'll be
there.
right back. Welcome back to Trending. I hope you're having a swell time at home because, of course, Ajebo and Pascal, we're having a very, very amazing time here in the studio. Was just telling me that sometime very soon, all right, Superman may be speaking Pidgin English and wearing Ankara as well. I hope that's only what they have to wear. And then we are better too.
But anything that represents Africa, man, we're putting it
But,
out
but
to the
it's actually
world.
really, really good. But what you've
Yeah.
actually done, and we're speaking off camera now, and you're talking about how speaking Pidgin to the extent that the white man would just have no choice but to want to speak the way you're speaking.
Right.
I feel like we're already seeing that already happening
Yes.
gradually, but I feel like we
Yes.
can even do more. So that's what you're actually doing now. But let me just ask you a very side question. I know you've done the Ajebo house, the house of Ajebo for the longest, and right now you're transitioning into something even
Right.
bigger. But what will you see as success for you?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. This year I sat down and I asked myself, are you successful? And some people just think that success translates to making money. But the question is, what legacy are you leaving for the next
Generation.
generation? We talk about Tom and Jerry. Do you know how old Tom and Jerry is? Do you know how old Mickey Mouse is? Right? Generations upon generations will still come and watch that content, and that's what I want to do. That's success for me. I want to time where people from all around Africa, from all around the world, will pack their bags and travel to Nigeria to come to House of Ajebo Wonderland. Do you understand? Like, we create a universe of characters, right? Where you can now come and experience these characters live. Do you understand? It's like what we
Yes.
do with Disney.
Yes.
You go to Disneyland and you're experiencing each of their characters, like just the way you see it on TV, you're experiencing it live.
Live, yeah.
You know, and that's where we want to be, and we want it to happen. You know, people come and they can experience African characters, right? We've done Tigwolo,
For a
we've done the Ajebo character in the past, the Aboki and all you spoke about. Right now, we want to create other characters. But man, there are characters that I've sat down and I've pictured. You know, superhero Wakanda, as beautiful as it is, as much money as it made, it's not our story. Why would somebody be thinking about
Africa in their own perspective.
Do you understand? And we are not thinking about it. You can't represent Lagos more than me, that has lived in the Lagos. Do you understand? So we need to sit down and have our own beautiful pieces where we can represent Nigeria 2050. 2030, you know, and we can say this is how, imagine having a superhero, having a superhero that has physical elements of a Nigerian god. Okay, people keep saying, Thor is Shango, you are just talking. Let's create our own. Do you understand? We have so many stories untold.
We do, but that's the truth, though.
So many stories untold.
We actually do.
Do you know how many, like, if you go to the Yoruba culture alone,
a lot of stories.
if you hear the stories, you know, you talk about King Jaja of Opobo,
Opobo.
you know, just so many stories that they are sweeping history under the carpet.
Yeah, they are.
If you don't know your history, how can you plan your today? How can we plan tomorrow? So, yes, how do I rate success? I want to tell the African story the way it ought to be told.
Yeah, absolutely.
And build a multiverse of characters where people can walk in and experience, you know, the African characters live.
That's fantastic. Question for you right now is, if comedy were taken off your hands now, because of course it can't because you're comedy and comedy is you, but peradventure, perhaps, a hypothetical question, if it were taken out from you now, is there any other thing you would have wanted to do aside from comedy?
Between me and you, I don't see this out a lot. Comedy slowed me down.
What?
It slowed me down.
For real?
Yeah. You know, I started doing comedy very early. Very early. So I was comfortable as a young boy. My first income from comedy, I was 14, you know. And then I start to grow and then I start to, you know, And I realized that the kind of dream I'm pursuing and visions, and no disrespect, God sees my heart, the kind of dream and visions that I see for myself, comedy money cannot give it to me. Money cannot get us there. Do you understand? So, I mean, I resigned from radio in 2016 honorably. I just stopped being productive because I couldn't do other stuff. And I just bought drinks, took it to my boss. I said, thank you. I've done my time. I'm moving on. And I told him, I said, please, when I'm launching my company, you'll cut. You really want to cut the rope? I'm sure he looked at me that this boy must be a fool. So, you know, that was 2016. So, right, like I said, we're in a transitionary period. We're also doing some things around tech. You know, these are things that we've not put out yet.
Wow.
We're doing something around tech. We're trying to launch an app very, very soon. Something that can help creators make more money. Creators are being shortchanged in Nigeria, in Africa.
Yeah.
You know, the CPM, it's not the same, trust me.
Yeah.
We work very hard.
Even more than people over there.
Yes.
They make more
very hard. But because we're not the creators of the platform, you know, it's rich now. And we don't have strong policies that can help protect us, you know. So, right. So we've come to that point where we need to look inwards, see how we can now start to create platforms that can help us monetize. That's the new oil. The new oil.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a lot of things that. So basically, I don't want to talk.
No, I know because art is cannibalistic.
So So if you ask me that question, if I were to leave stand-up comedy, right, what else would I do? Bro, I'm already doing a lot.
I know.
The kiddies market space is a virgin market. It's so big.
Exactly.
It's enough headache, first of all.
Yeah.
And then we're combining creative arts with tech right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Tech is an enabler,
It
right?
is, it is, it
So
is.
we need to find ways to be able to, you know, do
Try
our
to
own
just
platforms.
around it.
What makes artists, and I say this all the time, the reason your artist can reject a gig of 30 million is because it's making more money from streaming. Do you know how many streaming platforms we have in the music space, in the music industry? And that's because music started off as with business executives, people that wanted to monetize music. So now you see it was a structure, and they just pick an artist and they make you into a product. Do you understand? The artist doesn't have to do anything. They
Just bring your talent.
just bring your talent. So there's already the producer, there's everything. An artist saw it for themselves. The moment you just leave the label, you become ordinary again, right? So because there's a lot of business strategies that goes into refining and now putting out that actual product, pushing the product globally.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But
Yeah.
for comedy, it came out of, we funny, for worry. So you see, there's a transitionary period right now, and we have to get on board.
You're very, very correct. We want a short break right now, and when we return, training continues. Stick around, you're not going nowhere. When we return, it's going to be time for one cover, so stick around. Welcome back to Trending, and stay happy with me, Ajebo, in the building. Who's about to play the one cover segment. Now, this particular segment is the segment where we ask you a question or put a situation in front of you, and you give us your honest opinion about it. You ready? In recent times, we've seen that online content creators or skit makers are currently replacing comedians in terms of recognition. When they want to get awards, you see that they're not giving the real comedians, and it is the online skit makers that they're giving. What do you think may be that particular thing? Why is it happening like that?
Nobody's replacing anybody.
Okay.
First of all, the industry is evolving, right? Comedy is a large genre, right? Just the way you have music, you have R&B, so that's the same way we have comedy actors. Okon Lagos is a comedy actor, right? So we have people that have taken the online space and they are acting, they are comedy actors, right? So they have not replaced the stand-up comedians, right? We all work together to make the industry thrive, So if there's an award that is organized to award people that are doing well in that space, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
The same way you can organize awards to reward stand-up comedians, okay?
Yeah.
So nobody's taking anybody's job. We're all doing our part for the collective good
That's amazing.
of the industry.
That's amazing. I love the way you explain this. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you so
Yeah,
very much, Ajebo.
thank
I really
you.
appreciate it. It's still Training. We're on a short break right now. And when we return, all right, it's going to be Ajebo and Pascal on your TV screen. Stick around. You're not going nowhere. Welcome back to Trending. Before we wrap things up, all right, Ajebo is still in the building, but let's quickly talk about your project now. Something big is happening on the 29th of June.
Yep,
You want to
yep.
tell us about it?
Whoop, whoop,
From the
whoop.
horse's
Yeah.
mouth?
Yeah. On the 29th of June is the 12th edition of my show.
12th edition.
Yes, Ajebo Unleashed. It's the 12th edition.
12.0.
Yeah, 12.0, the family guy. So the family guy, everybody comes from a family.
Oh, you're a family guy now. Huh?
Yeah, I've always been a family guy.
Okay.
I think Walla is a family guy.
Yes,
So
yes,
basically,
he
you want to
is.
just beam the light.
But anyway, family guy, how welcome was trying to buy bread, tenner, and cut. Tell us more about the video work that's coming out.
So basically, just tag the family guy. Just there's a lot of stories.
Mhm.
The family is the first unit of society
It is.
and the biggest influence on any man's life.
Right.
The memories from family you can never forget. How you learned to dodge your mother's slippers, sibling rivalry, and all
Transfer
of
of
that.
aggression from siblings.
Tickets are available on www.houseofajebo.org. Please go and get your tickets. Come with your family, come with your spouses, your girlfriend, or your landlord's daughter, and let's have fun.
Anyways, thank you so much, people, for this particular episode of Trending. Remember, Trending is at the 9 a.m. hour and, of course, at the 8 p.m. hour repeat version. Make sure you follow us on all our social platforms, all right? On Instagram and TikTok is at Official Hip TV. If you enjoyed this particular episode and you want to see more of it, go up to YouTube right now and check it out at Hip TV. Then on X is at Official Hip TV as well. My name is Pascal. Ajebo, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having
It was
me.
very amazing time here. Remember, the show is coming up on the 29th of June. Do not miss that one. My name is
Baga.
Pascal. I'm going to go back below it. My fault.